Then I have to share that link. Hello, dear friends of the human family. So, I'm just going to check out the link for this for our friends. Okay, I'm hearing myself. And I've just not got this figured out completely. So, I'm just gonna expose my weaknesses and share them with the entire world because you know what? There's nothing more important than staying real. That's what it's all about. And we're doing things from an amateur level and we're learning through mistakes. We're happy to admit that we were wrong and that we need to talk about really important things. And today is a very interesting day once again on this week. I did a live stream on Monday where I shared my feelings about this week, this coming week. We're approaching the spring equinox, and that things are really coming forward now. There's like a sort of a big energy buildup happening, and we're trying to navigate through this here. And there's no better way than joining in with the human family, sharing our experiences, what's going on in our lives, and me and Ahmed, we're embarking on a journey to take this planet back. Okay, let's just keep it real and just say it as it absolutely is, 100%. We don't leave the cities, we take back the cities. Okay, and then we can start our projects. But this is our planet. Okay, and it's time that we established some of that masculine. That's a sort of like a masculine trait to say, "You're not doing this to me." Okay, and we stand up for ourselves, for our lives, because we don't like how things have been going ever since we were born, I would think. And Ahmed is one of a dear, very, very dear and close family member of the human family and part of the Gnostic takeover crew. I can feel the energy that Ahmed emits, and it's the same energy that's flowing through me. So I thought we'll just crystallize what's going on with our masculinity. Are we even, is it all right to even say that? Well, guess what? We're gonna say, and we're gonna say it even more. What's with our masculinity? What's the anima and animus in Carl Jung terminology? And the feminine, how have we got feminine energy also inside of us? Can we balance that? How can we grow together with our wonderful women in this world? Okay, big shout out to the women. You are beautiful, the same as we are, and it's time that we took back our real power that flows through us, through our gender. And dear genderists, get as offended as you like, because we're here to establish the truth back here. So, Ahmed, what comes to your mind when we are talking about this most important of subject? Okay, why is it such an important subject? What do you think?
Well, I mean, there's obviously been triggers in the past, but the more recent one with the death of Sarah Everard has been a major emotional trigger for those who haven't done the shadow work on themselves and are still stuck in Plato's cave, looking at the shadows on the wall. And we're seeing this now in the protests that are going on here in London at the moment. All the highly emotionally immaturely charged women, I have to say it and call it out for what it is. They say that it's the 97% of men that are, are chauvinists and toxic. And while I'll agree, a lot of the society, especially amongst men, most men in the world today are beta males. They have no understanding what alpha means or what the alpha masculine aspect is. And what's going on is there's this sort of, and it has been going on for quite a while, through obviously the external factors of the way what they put in our water, to the imbalance of hormones in our bodies as men and women, and that's part of it. But also this is psychological. aspect, which is the major one, because that's only like 10% of it. The 90% is all to do with the inner psychological aspects of our understanding of the, as the New Agers call it, I don't want to belittle it. It is divine masculine, divine feminine, and people are not really grasping their deeper understanding of these principles, these spiritual principles of the divine feminine and masculine that's within us. But what's been mostly attacked now is the divine masculine, right? And it's very dangerous. We're living in a very dangerous time where this ideology is now being expressed in the media through this death of Sarah Everard. I mean, there's so many deaths of females. There's so many males that die, as well from abuse and women murdering them as well in certain relationships. Although they're very few and far between, but what's going on is this toxic relationship we have with each other between the masculine and the feminine. So I think we need to get to the roots of it and start to understand what is it to mean to be alpha. What is the alpha male? What is the alpha female? All right, the queen dragon. And a lot of it has got to do with our own personal relationships with our parents directly. And I think as Otto Rank, who came into came to a kind of grind with Freud about his theory about how the mother, while she's pregnant with the child in the womb, her state, her spiritual state, and her inner dialogue with her body and her understanding, those messages are going into the child in a sort of symbiotic state, in a sort of not symbiotic, what's the word? It's integrating that information into the growth of that fetus through its nervous system. And this also, regardless of male or female, these energies and this information goes into that newborn. And I'm really it's a theory for most for the in the psychological realm, but I really feel that this is one of the traumas we actually have already faced before we even come out to the world. And if the mother is toxic in the sense that her understanding of the world, her value of herself and her worth, her femininity, that affects the child. And I would also go as far as to say and theorize myself on a psychological level from all the books I've read from Jung, Freud, and all the great thinkers, Otto Rank, Eric Newman, that the male as well, when they're conceiving together, if that male is also not in alignment, that information in the sperm is also going in. I would go as far as that and say that. I'm not a psychologist or an expert or qualified, so to speak.
That's what we're talking to, Ahmed.
Yeah, but I'm an outlier anyway. I don't believe in qualifications. I don't believe in authority giving me the official stamp to say, oh yeah, you've got the knowledge now. Well, I've studied all these books for years. I've got into psychology. I was an actor for quite some time. Psychology was a primary path of knowledge that I wanted to understand the human condition, so that I can express and relate to every human being I can, to really get into the psychology of another human being and really connect on a heart-based level and be real and speak real and not hide how I feel or how I view things, because there's only one of me, and if I'm going to be in my supreme masculinity, that has to be expressed no matter how uncomfortable it is when you are talking with women or men, doesn't matter. So this is essential. I feel that we need to talk about this topic because it's happened in the past and people have been emotionally controlled. Because we talk about mind control, but I think, as Mark Passier's mentioned before, there's this emotional control that's going on, what he likes to call the heart control. But that's done through the manipulation of triggering emotional traumas within us through what we see in the death of Sarah Everard, for example, and the messaging the media puts out, and I want to call bullshit. That's what I'm going to do right now. It's all bullshit. It's all
Exactly.
toxic, you know.
Exactly.
And if you want to take responsibility as look, I will take responsibility for the males. As a masculine man, I will take responsibility for the males and speak out against them. But it's also for the women, because when we talk about masculine, this aspect is not limited to just the male. This is as important to have for the female too, because the alpha male will will give the masculinity to the alpha female to trigger that. I mean, look into the works of Ayn Rand. She was a woman that understood the masculine aspect. And when we talk about these things, it's a psychological thing, because when we talk about the feminine, it's about being, right? It's about being in a state. It's about nurture. It's about just as our mother planet does, it nurtures and it grows. But the sun also has that relationship with the earth, and the sun is the masculine aspect. And what's happened is through the Atenist infiltration, the Archons and so on, their hybrid bloodlines, they've been doing this for thousands of years. If anything, I think the males and the females have been pitted against each other for the last 6,000 years, at least. We got to understand this goes way back. This is not something that's recent, So we have to now get to the roots of this war that's been going on for the last 6,000 years. And why is it now that we're having more daughters being born, more females being born? That's something they've done a census on, that there's been more female births than male births, because it's the outward expression in the material world, in the physical world, of what's going on in the spiritual realm. Everything in nature is expressed from within. Okay, it's like what you say is within to without, right? And that's part of it. We have to start addressing this, because men are just so largely emasculated. They're just beta males. And then when they see an alpha male, they'll attack him, and they'll look at him as if he's some enemy, and they'll give him nothing but pure envy, as Michael Tsarian has mentioned in his talks before. So we need to really get to this root cause of the problem, of the psychology that's going on, and the emotional and mental hijack of the male and females in the world.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. And get to the bottom of it. And as soon as you start digging, especially to aspects like psychology, and when you start to realize what mind control really is, you're going to begin to trigger other people. That's just what's going to happen. When we realize that the number one, from my analysis, I can only speak from my perspective, the number one problem that we have got in this world is mind control. And the solution to this is the removal of mind control. Okay, you can build all the tiny houses in the world that you want. You've still got a foundation that's full of mildew, that is poisoned, that is like good for nothing. And you can build all the new ideas on top of that. But when we don't get to the root cause of why things have turned so poisonous, why our skies are being poisoned, why our food supply is being poisoned, why all of the poisons that exist, how has it come to that? What is the green revolution, for example? You know, and the oil based way of producing our food and our vegetables Go and look at that in the 1960s. And we've just grown so accustomed to the habits that things are poisonous and that you have to write biological on our on the food that we eat in order to know that it's organic. You know what this is? This is extermination agenda for our race. And there's so many complexities to this, but these different aspects, they line up. The poison in the food lines up with the poison inside the self. And that's what I liked, what you just said now, the transformation from within to without, inside out, because that's something that we can observe a lot in the so-called truth community. There is a lot of analysis on things happening on the outside, but then you've got a lot of people in the truth community that have got anger issues, that stay stuck in the rabbit hole, and they make the other people that follow them and that watch that content also stay stuck in that rabbit hole and not knowing how you can solve problems at the root level. And that's where we want to get to. And I myself also, through my work that I've been doing here, I've been realizing ever since I've started to come out and talk about controlled opposition and the modus operandi of how movements have always been infiltrated and have never come to anything. I mean, what movement has ever changed or shifted anything in the world? I know no movement. Maybe in tiny pockets you can pick one out. But on a worldwide scale, we're still experiencing the consequences of our behavior, which is then reflected in the world as a war-based world, with a war-based worldview, where it's this virus that's all going to kill us and we have to lose all our freedoms because of this virus. You see, that's how far it goes. It's a war-based worldview that we've been locked in. And what I've realized this week, for example, and I was just attacked by going straight to it, and then I was like thinking, right, now I keep going there, because I realized that the collective in general of the society is always wrong. That I can absolutely say. But then you take the collective of a so-called freedom movement. Oh, we're against these corona measures and these regulations. They are completely wrong. They're absolutely on the wrong track. And I just say this, and that's why I love Mark Passio's work. Go onto his YouTube channel and listen what he says in his last video about protesters. And that do you really think you're on the right side just by going protesting? And he'll explain to you how you most certainly to 99% are not on the right side if you don't want these measures, because you have to dig much deeper. And this war, I'm absolutely with you, has been waging for a long time. And it has to do with gender. And I realized that if I want to see a worldwide heart-based revolution, which is evolution, we have to change everything from the core, and we transform the whole world. Okay, that's what we're here to do. We transform our lives, we get out of our slave jobs, and we transform the world. But I realized this week, for example, it was closing in on me, and I had to look at my own issue, which has to do with love, and where my habits have been leading me to an imbalance within me, where I'm not successful in this business called love, which is not a business. It's just love. And I've been suffering unconsciously for a long time. And this week it came to the surface, and I was able to deal with it. So today is a day where I actually did that. I wrote to my first girlfriend I ever had. I wrote to her and I asked her, I want to do a video content. Can I use your picture? To make it personal, because I like to keep things personal, in all honesty, because that's the basis for all truth. Is you have to be honest to yourself. And she came back and she was really happy. Well, thank you for asking me beforehand, but she doesn't want that. So I said, okay, I'll find another way of doing it. After that, I wrote to my ex-girlfriend and trying to clear the energetic pathways that are still there and that are toxic through not speaking to each other. You see, this is another thing, that when a relationship splits, people split and they don't talk with each other anymore. That is toxic. When you don't leave in sort of like a harmonious, balanced relationship state, how it ended, you still got those energetic cords connected to you, and it will influence you. And this is what I think comes to the root of the reason why a lot of people draw in the same experiences over and over again, because it's those energetic cords that have been established that have not been transformed, they've not been healed. And therefore, right now, this is I'm sharing this directly personal experience. I took this, I feel 10 kilos lighter. I'm like, oh, I wanted to do this before, and today was the day where it happened. And I tell you, it's been I've been running away from things, not being honest to myself since September, and even before that, but September last year. And today I can finally clear it, and I feel much better. And that's why I feel that energy, and that's why I wanted to have you on also today, Ahmed. And I want you to speak about what you want to get into. It feels so much lighter, and now I can draw in completely new energies, and that's the excitement of life. Clear the energies, do the internal integration shadow work, and then you'll start to see changes in the outer world. When you do it the other way, it's not going to be lasting. So we have to start with inside ourselves, and we have to heal our relationship. So, and relationships to men and female and all relationships. We need to come together as a human family, and also tell each other sometimes things that we don't like to hear, which trigger us. So how can we establish, in your view, healthy relationships? What is your experience? What can you say about that?
Uh, wow, amazing work that you've been doing there. And yeah, I commend you and congratulate you for the courage, because it takes a lot of that masculine energy to do that doing of the healing. And unresolved conflicts are in our lives are very important to heal and have closure on, and they will haunt you if you don't confront them, and they'll be part of your dirty dirty psyche. It will murky the waters within you.
Mm,
But yeah, I think the essence of this is selfhood. Without it, none of it can be done properly.
mm,
So knowing thyself is a very important aspect of this, of standing in your power, of aligning with your masculine and your feminine as well. And within us, there is always a balance. And I like to always kind of find the energies of the masculine and feminine and balance that out. My understanding of what feminine energy is and what that healthy feminine is. Okay, because they're both, everything is dualistic. So if you're talking about feminine and the divine feminine, but you're living out the divine masculine, then that divine feminine becomes toxic. And it's the same the other way around. So that starts with selfhood. It's the understanding of yourself, knowing thyself, which is the hardest work to ever do, that shadow integration work.
yeah.
And once you've done that work and you're now in a symbiotic relationship with nature and consciousness and source, in a way, because it's all from the heart, then you're able to purify. Because it's purified within, you can now become the purifier without.
Mm,
You'll be the
mm,
walking, talking example. You walk the talk, right? Because that's the masculine, walking the talk. The talk is the inner. And we need to also get out of the thought. So this is what happens in the New Age movement is, and this is my problem with the New Age movement. It's all very feminine, in the divine feminine. And I don't want to leave that out. That's very important. Don't get me wrong. It's very important. But if you're excluding the divine masculine in the conversation, in this dialogue, right? then you are toxic. Then your movement is toxic. And this is part of the New Age deception. Because what happens when you're too far into the feminine, you get into the state of being of, hey, just think positively. Think positively and everything will manifest and it will be fine. Everything's good, you know? You deluded person, human
Mm-hmm.
being. You're so
Mm-hmm.
deluded because
Mm-hmm.
it's not the positive thoughts that's going to change your reality. It's the positive action. But positive action can't be achieved without suffering. You know, people always ask me, what awakened you? What awakened you? And I'm like, I'm still awakening. I think you said this before. We're still always awakening. We're still growing. This is part of the human experience. We're constantly growing. We're constantly evolving. And so much has been hidden from our consciousness that it's only now starting to kind of rear the deeper aspects of the human psyche that's been traumatized for thousands of years. And yeah, that alignment of positive action comes through alchemizing your suffering and alchemizing your shadow, and then you start to identify with your, which is what's been really out of balance, the divine masculine principle, the action, the doing, the lifestyle, the outer physical aspect of the spiritual. One cannot
Mm-hmm.
work without the other. So the divine feminine aspect is the being, is the inner work, is the shadow work, is the humility to be wrong and admit you're wrong and integrate all the, even the evil aspects in yourself, understanding that and integrating it. That's the feminine principle. And then is taking it and putting it into action. If you're sitting in if you're sitting at home keeping these to yourself, you're not having dialogue with other people about these important topics, then your new age stuff means nothing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're absolutely deluded in your dementia of your divine feminine by excluding the divine masculine from the conversation. So it's about alchemizing that suffering. It's about going through that inner work to understand what is feminine, what is masculine, what are these attributes, and how do I balance that within myself? And how does that come out as pure and healthy from the heart, as a loving, pure, loving intention without no agenda for egotistical gain? And we have to be, as men and women, brave enough to stand up against these people that are vocalizing their hysteria of how they're victims, especially, you know, the beta males that are joining these feminist movements as well, that I've seen in the street. How disgraceful. And they think they're free, you know. We want freedom and they're wearing their muzzles. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
what hypocrisy. What
Yeah.
state of consciousness are you in to what toxic state, you know, to think in your delusion that you're going to get your rights from telling the police to fuck the police, you know, and use all the foul language that they want you to use. By the way, you're playing right into the same male toxic males that have been ruling. And I don't exclude, because there's the female Illuminati aspect. When we say Illuminati, it's such a loaded word, that label. But if we talk about the elite, they're also female in the upper echelons. You think it's just males? There's toxic females, you know, that understand these principles too. You know, you have the Freemasonic female lodges around the world. Okay. So the hypocrisy is there. And, you know, it's really perplexing. I mean, why these women are acting out the way they are is because they're self-victimizing. We're the victims. Look at you. You killed our women. You men. But you'll take one male officer to
Can we have
represent.
one big male just quickly? One male just join the conversation a little bit in the next few minutes, all right? Go on, Alman. Go on. Just keep talking.
Yeah. So
Got a
that's the
friend here,
thing.
you know who I mean.
Yeah, I look forward to him
Yeah,
joining
good.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting you, brother.
No, that's
Go on.
okay. So this is what's going on. These females are getting triggered emotionally through their minds, right, through the media, by the death of Sarah Everard, for example, just as it was with George Floyd, with the Black Lives Matter movement. No different, same thing, same programming,
Yeah,
nothing different. The only
very
different
good.
aspect is female, and
Mm.
they've politicized and hyper-inflated the truth. And yeah, there are men out there that are totally toxic as a result of the the pornographic programs, the pornographic mind control that's been going on with men.
Mm.
And of course, that starts to allow, well, the men in themselves, they kind of are kind of
Please.
allured into the feminine because the feminine form is beautiful. You know, the feminine body is such a beautiful form. So is the male too. They're both unique aspects of the expression of the divine and feminine and masculine. But what's happened is that men are starting to objectify women and treating them as objects, and that's just a relationship, the toxic masculine and the toxic feminine, because
Mm.
the ones that are doing the porn films are women.
Mm.
Did you ever stop to think the ones that are twerking in all the TikTok videos and all the Instagram or whatever, twerking their asses everywhere? Those are women, but I don't see you women screaming at them, going, "Hey, you better stop that shit. This is destroying us." I
Yeah.
don't see you speaking about out against them, but no, let's go and attack the males. And
Mm.
you're the problem. You males are the problem. We're not the problem.
Or,
We're victims, right?
or even just ask the basic question: why are men, or why are so many people consuming porn? Why? It's the question why that leads you to the cause. Of course, we don't want to talk about that. The same way we don't want to talk about why so many people are taking drugs. Maybe it's because this whole society is fucked up, because it's a mental asylum. Okay? People running around with muzzles where it says it doesn't protect you from any virus, but we still do it anyway. Because who said so? Because the government said so. Okay. Then I look up the definition of democide, and I see that governments in the 20th century, under democracies, killed 162 million people without excluding the two world wars. Okay. And that's a university study from the University of Hawaii. No one's ever talked about this. You see, so many things we've never talked about.
Mm,
And it's a war on gender. And I want to make this absolutely clear. It's toxic masculinity together with the toxic femininity, because those two are intrinsically linked together in the way that I see the Trinity process of manifestation. Okay, you want to hear the real principle of manifestation instead of, oh, just think positively and just imagine it and paint your little Ferrari somewhere and it's gonna magically just drop off the sky because you're such a great creator. Let me tell you about the real principle of manifestation. You want the life you want? Study the Trinity process, integrate it, and do it. Okay? Thoughts, emotions, and actions have to be in alignment. Thoughts starting with intention, intentionality. What do you want is the question. Got an answer to that? If not, then go please find out. Otherwise, you're not a creator being. You're a slave to a system that's gonna drive you mental in this mental asylum. So you have the intention, I want to take the planet back. That was my intention last year. Too big to think? Well, it better think big because that drives to the root of it. I don't just want it good in my country. I want it good in Palestine, Israel, and everywhere in the world. My Iraqi brothers and sisters, Syria. I want to study history in Syria, okay? So I want to go there and not have a war torn country anymore. So I have an intention, that's the masculine principle, with the emotions and feelings of the feminine principle, the masculine and the feminine. For me, both interior energies within ourselves, which are masculine and feminine inside the self, and those two expressed outwardly through right action in alignment with the intention you set and the feelings that you have about that intention. That's the real manifestation. Okay, and you live by that. That's why Gandhi said, you want to see change in the world? Well, live by that change. Be the change you want to see in the world. That's what I see in that. And it's so simple that no one fucking wants to do it. You see? The truth is simple, but the mind, that's where the mind control comes in. It wants to tell you all excuses of not doing that and keep you in either obvious or unconscious victimhood mentality. And that's what we see, and I love that you picked up on that. The George Floyd classic, exactly the same. Black Lives Matter, the same victim program disguised through color instead of gender. Okay? It's all the same program wanting to pit us against each other. And we have to take full responsibility and alchemize those emotions. You want to know what energy is? Oh, you feel energyless? Well, go and find out about energy in motion, emotions trapped in your body. The real cause for all disease, because your energy meridians are not flowing as they should be flowing. Okay, and then we get dis-ease, disharmony in the flow of energy within us. Oh, but I'm not a doctor, I can't say this, can I? Of course I'll bloody say it every day now. Actually, I just realized it's an important thing we should pick up on. So, all right, having got my rant, I want to have Errol. Would you please make us a cup of tea? Could you, Errol? I wanna have Errol join in the discussion. Okay, this is a absolute classic example of a toxic alpha masculine bastard who gets attacked by these ridiculous people who've not got the guts and the heart to really drive at the causal level and what's wrong in the world. So, I mean, we can be really thankful that we've got our friend Errol here, and I'll just give it over to him. Can you please sit here and talk with our dear friend Ahmed? You're live.
Hello, dear society. I'm your toxic masculine nightmare. Hello, Ahmed.
Greetings, brother. How are you?
Yeah, good to see you again. What's happening?
Yeah, as you've been hearing, we've been talking about the toxic masculine and toxic feminine hijack that's been going on for thousands of years. And yeah, it's I think it's a very important subject to tackle right now, because it's all around us for us alpha males as well. Now, you know, the envy is there from all the beta males, and the hatred is always there from the beta females. You know, because we challenge, our presence challenge, and our knowledge challenges their victimized mentality, their insecure victimized mentality. So we were talking about how the feminine is the being, and that women, well, it's related, the being is related to life, space, and and that's the feminine principle. And women were meant to be the keepers of this mystery, right, of the being, and they were meant to share that mystery with us males. And the male was the time aspect, the doing aspect. He was the doer, and those principles are within each the female and the male too. So when we talk about the masculine and the feminine in terms of their attributes, they're one and the same within each of us, regardless of our gender. But because we're physically male and women are physically female in form, we need each other. Without it, there's no reproduction, there's no life. So we need each other. It's a symbiotic relationship. And if we're toxic, constantly fighting as self-victimized, you know, lesser than human, really, because you've abandoned yourself. So that's why I feel it's important to talk about it.
Absolutely. What I can add to that is all this division between the genders and this alpha, beta, and sigma male separation bullshit, excuse me, it's no different to the red pill and the blue pill principle. Why do you need to even take a pill? Okay? Why do you need to put yourself in a category? I'm an alpha, I'm a beta. Okay? Because you can't put yourself in a category. You're all of it. When you come outside of it, you can see all of it for what it is. And you own all of it and you're all of it. You see? It's all division. Yes, guys, especially the red pill, blue pill phenomena bullshit. It's all separation. There is no red pill, blue pill. We're all of it. And we have to own it. You see, the reason why these separations happen is because we don't own ourselves. So we give our power to external things. It's escapism, escaping ourselves.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's what it really is. And the divine masculine and the feminine principle, it's all about balance. When the two come together, they're the yin and the yang, and they work together in pure harmony. And this is what the enemies of life fear. And that's going to change now. And the balance is going to come back together. It's already happening.
This is why I think that pure relationship of having that balanced when you've reached and attained your selfhood, because I was saying to Steve earlier, it's about selfhood. If you want to start to understand the healthy masculine and feminine principles, you have to come into your selfhood, because if you haven't done that shadow work, you can't go into those deeper aspects of our spiritual psyche, you know. And I always use the Vesica Pisces as a symbol of harmony, because I think the Vesica Pisces represents the perfect balance of the two holes overlapping each other. So here's something I drew, but I'm going to share it here with everyone. How expression comes into creation, right? Because it's the harmony of the feminine and the masculine as two holes, but overlapping them each other in perfect harmony, working in perfect symbiosis, that the expression of life comes up in a tree. You know, that creation has harmony.
Yes,
just like we see in a tree.
Creative life force power. And my message to men is this. We've been programmed that the man is the hunter. This is going to shock a lot of people, that we've been programmed that the man is the hunter and he should go out and hunt the women. And he's supposed to have sexual relationships with as many women as he can. That's bullshit. When a man is truly a man in his own power, then all the real women see that man and they come to him. Then the man can look at all the women and see the real women among them, and he can make his choice from them. And then they come together in balance, one woman.
Yeah, and the choice is both ways as well, because the real women are in their balance as well of the divine and divine feminine. And what happens is, this is what I feel, is that the masculine man masculinizes the woman, and in terms of his masculinity, standing in his center, knowing who he is, attaining his selfhood. And it's the same the other way around. That divine feminine also harmonizes with the masculine man, and then the feminized, the healthy feminized principle comes into the man, the being. And this is what's been inverted right now in society, where this toxic masculine and feminine relationship is now, we're seeing it in the streets, you know. And you know, men are the problem. Men are the problem. They caused all this. It's the patriarchy. Yeah, well, women are the problem too. It's the matriarchy. If it's just one side and matriarchy only, it's out of balance. If it's patriarchy, it's out of balance. So we need to harmonize these two principles.
Both sides have fallen into the trap. Both sides have fallen into the trap, and there is no matriarchy or patriarchy. There is no raki. It's all of us together. There is
a
no
holarchy.
raki. The raki comes from the archontic ruler principle.
Yeah.
They operate on a hierarchy. Okay, it's not human. It's not human. It's them. And what I'm gonna totally escaped my mind.
Yeah, you were saying about the men, and you we were talking about how the true functional male is like, and the choice goes both ways, in terms of when the healthy masculine and feminine are there, and
yeah,
that
what
is
I was going to say was the
Yep.
real divine feminine doesn't want to be stronger than the male. She wants it the opposite, the other way around, the man to be stronger than her, and she wants to feel vulnerable in the presence of the real man, so that she can trust the real man with her essence to nurture and protect her. She sees him as the protector and the provider for the materials, so that she can go on with her life and create the life that she's supposed to create, which is she's a creative power. Okay, because she can only do this when the divine masculine is in balance and is present with her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship. It's harmonizing, but you can't reach that level until, again, it comes down to selfhood. And I agree with you in that sense that we are physically muscular. We were created, well, in terms of principles of creation, we are physically more muscular than women and have higher testosterone because we are the doers in that sense. But
Protectors,
also, there's also a strength when we talk about the strength of a man. There's also a strength of a woman too, because the woman gives the strength to the man through her mysterious femininity,
magic,
the mystery of the stars, and all those principles that are within the woman. And
exactly.
she's the nurturer of strength. She's the roots of that strength. We are the outer expression of that nurture. And also, she has the masculine principles of doing and creating. They are creator women who go out there and do the actions, who are great writers, artists, like Ayn Rand. I always talk about Ayn Rand. Everyone should read, every woman and man should read Ayn Rand. But more importantly, it's that balance of being co-creators. And it's very powerful when those two divine masculine and feminine energy come, because beauty and creation comes out of that.
And this is the biggest superpower. This is the force that the enemies of life fear the most, because it's the ultimate creative power. Absolutely. And
what are your thoughts on this term, Errol, on the twin flame?
Twin flame.
You talk about soulmate, but there's this new one called twin flame. I don't really delve too much into it, but I don't know. I was wondering if you had any sort of perspectives on that.
It's once again the story of the divine masculine and the feminine coming together in balance. It's just another term for it. That's also like a sort of they put a label on it. Twin flame. You got to go out there and search it. But that's not the way to do it. For your twin flame, your so-called twin flame, if you want to put a name on it, will only come to you if you have done the work on yourself, whether you're a woman or a man. That's how it works. And this is the true law of attraction. You can only attract what you are, but you have to become your full self to attract everything else that goes with your full self and that supports your full self. And that's the twin flame right there.
Beautifully said. Totally resonate with that. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's the again, it's the understanding of coming out of that programming that we've had since birth about the
It's all a
relationship
program.
between the male and the female. And that's why it's so dysfunctional in society. Divorce rates are so high, especially during the since the lockdown started. You know, I'm one of those, by the way. You know, but that was a healthy thing for me because I realized I was meant to. That relationship was going to be toxic when it has been toxic for a while, and what that does when your desire as a man to be aligned with your masculinity, your divine masculinity, and you have a toxic, you know, not to say that I didn't have any toxicity in me, because I had to do that work on me as well, because all relationships teach you a lesson about yourself. But also, if you're in that cycle, then you're trapped, and
Mhm.
you know, eventually everything that expresses within that relationship becomes toxic, to the point where the house's foundation is rotted and it can't stand anymore, and it just comes crumbling down. So
Yeah, because what that chaos showed you was it allowed you to come into your own power as a man, as an individual first, and as a man to realize your real purpose in life, which is to deal with the problem that we're facing. That's that's your first priority, to deal with this problem that we're facing. And the moment you chose to step into that responsibility to do that, everything else fell away, so that you have the space to do what you need to
yeah,
do. So, I mean,
beautiful.
I know she was your wife and everything. Okay, I don't want to speak in a bad way. Don't misunderstand me. But this means that she wasn't there to support you with the main cause. You know, because a real woman stands behind her man. She sees that and she stands behind her man in support, so that he can deal with the problem, which is not just a problem in the family, the first family. It's the bigger picture of the problem of the
Mm,
world which we're facing right now. That's the real problem. You fix that, everything else fixes itself.
mm. Can I just say as well, like I feel this whole thing, because I always hear like behind every great man is a great woman, and the woman's always behind. I always feel like that word hasn't, it's really kind of bothered me. I
Mm,
feel like, no, it's shoulder to shoulder, you know, side by side in
yeah,
equilibrium, just as the Vesica Pisces. Um,
exactly. I
so
mean,
I
why
feel,
say behind every great man is a good woman, and not what behind every good woman is a great man too, and just say
yeah,
the other way? You know, it's all distraction, it's all distortion and
mm,
distraction. But as you said, it works shoulder to shoulder in unity and balance. It's a togetherness, it's a collaboration, it's alliance.
mm, beautiful.
And
Yeah,
that's all you need to know, basically. You know, just find yourself, take responsibility for yourself. It's the same message. I'm not going to change it. I say every video. Take responsibility for yourself. Find yourself, and you will find everything else that you need to find.
so beautiful.
Mm,
Yeah, I think yeah, it's the whole principle of how the line doth not beget the circle, but the circle beget the line. And again, what's happening now in society, there's no circle. There's none of that that harmonized boundary of keeping that line in check, because that's what the evil
mhm.
forces are. It's the lines. And if we allow the lines to go out and just become these muddled spaghetti lines everywhere, that sort of uh, chaos that's out of harmony in the male and females. That's why we're getting what we're getting today in
Mhm.
society. And, you know, these women all shouting angrily, and these men with them as well that are not really men. I don't really like to call them men, to be honest. I don't think they are men at all.
No.
They're just traumatized boys, just as they are traumatized girls. They haven't come into the adulthood, the selfhood.
No.
We talk about adulthood, but really it's selfhood. So
It's
you could,
selfhood, yeah.
yeah, you could be 16 and attain selfhood,
Exactly.
but
You
then
could
you're
be
an adult.
12 and do it,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
any age. And again, this the whole ageism thing, like that you have to be. I've seen 50-year-old men that are like little boys, emasculated, with no sense
Hmm.
of self, um,
No
completely,
self-esteem, no
yeah,
belief in self, just totally powerless and demoralized and lost in life,
mm,
unfortunately. Hmm.
yeah, and very
Um,
confused.
I I quite often like to use the lion principle, the lion. If we observe the lions, if we really watch the lions closely, their behaviors, lions are territorial, okay? And the Lion King is there to protect and provide for his lioness so that she can provide for the family, for the cubs and the kids, and nurture them and bring them up. And while she's doing it, the Lion King is protecting and preserving the territory. So, in human terms, our territory would be the planet, the entire creation, and the rest of humanity. Because life can only take place the way it's supposed to be, where the habitat supports life. Unlike in our times now, it's not supportive of life because the
Mm,
man hasn't taken care of the territory.
yeah, I think we lost you there, Errol. Not sure what's happening there, but yeah, absolutely. It's to do with territory, and yeah, there's that territory is the guardianship and responsibility we have as a human species, and that applies to both um, the male and female, and we're all the same.
Oh,
So
sorry, Ahmed, can you hear me? I just
yes,
lost you. We lost you.
yeah, I lost you. So I just continued talking about what you
Right,
just
right,
said
right.
about the territory. I was
I
just
wonder
saying
why.
that. Yeah, I wonder why.
What a
Yeah,
hack.
the whole lion concept and that's the lion and the lioness concept,
Yep.
and why the ancient Egyptians before the Atenists came had that principle of Leo, of the
I
lion
wonder
king and the
why.
lion queen. Yeah.
Say it.
So
It's
yeah,
just,
it is about that territory.
Say it again.
see, the lion, okay, the lion principle is the primary principle of creation. That's the nature of the source. And the lion and the eagle are the closest examples, spiritual examples of what the source, the Godhead is, the source head of all creation. The main principle of the source head is perfectly expressed through the lion and the eagle.
Beautiful.
And when I was talking about it, they just hacked as usual,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I'm glad you got it across now because yeah, absolutely. It's the groundedness and the height, the ability to see the kind of bird's eye view of things, and also being rooted in the ground of the earth, and knowing that this is our territory. We are the guardians of
Hmm.
the earth. We are here to take that responsibility, and we've
The
allowed these
eagle,
irresponsible beings to take control, but
you see
no
the
fault of our own because we've been manipulated since birth. But now that we're coming into awareness, it's time to be lions. It's time to be lionesses.
yeah, see the eagle represents straight, clear vision, focus. Just focus. Focus on the real truth. And then you can't be distracted. It's focus, you know? And the lion represents the power and the protection of the whole process of going after what you really need to be going after. You
Mm.
know, you, the main goal, which is to remain and preserve your essence. That's the main goal in life. By doing that, you're preserving and maintaining the essence of the true essence of the divine source. which we all come from. So then you allow it to operate through you and continue growing.
Amazing, beautiful, beautifully articulated. Yeah, and
Do,
yeah,
do we
that
want to
response.
wrap it up, Ahmed?
How
Yeah,
long is it?
absolutely. Yeah, I just uh, so this is something about the toxic masculinity that I think Michael Tsarian said. If I may quote this, if that's okay, because I like to quote these great scholars' work.
Mhm.
He talks about the toxic masculine aspect of these, the archontic force, the involutionary force, and he says that moreover, these men cannot understand why it is that after each and every peak experience, the somatic, which is the nervous system and the body, the somatic and the psychic vitality wanes. Right? How it also relates to pornography in a way. It has long been a subliminal dilemma for the male that at every of his greatest achievement or exertion, there comes the reciprocal diminution of his obviously finite energy. In short, the male has great fear. These males have great fear concerning the ambient power of the feminine and seeks to assert his own muscular and sexual strength in order to convince himself of his own potency. So that is the insecurity in the male. So I'm calling this out to all the males out there. Okay, if you're
Machoism,
male and macho
an
by going
alpha.
down the pub and brawling, well, you've got a very skewed, very dysfunctional view of the world. Okay,
Yeah,
and you're not a man.
as I always say, all those men who are in the gym on steroids, just pumping iron and giving it all out. Where the fuck are they now? You see, hiding behind muzzles, eating them.
Yeah,
Perfect
yeah,
example.
yeah, and yeah, the rise of this materialist science is a directly connected to men's relationship with the feminine as well. That's what this science is about. When we talk about it in a psychological aspect, that's what the science is expressing, this toxic masculinity with the feminine.
Exactly. And always it's the toxic masculinity that's demonized. And I don't know whether you spoke about it before I came and joined, but I believe you must have talked about what's happening in London regarding the police killing the woman, and now they're trying to target the men and say they don't want to go. They're trying to forbid men for going out in public on the street from 6 p.m. onwards. Bullshit. They can kiss my fucking ass.
Yeah, I ain't having it.
It's not going to work. And they should know it's not going to work.
Yeah, but what better chance? And this is where I want to pull it and wrap it up a little bit. What a perfect chance to, in a non-aggressive manner, okay? Nothing is ever healed with any violence. Okay, that's a complete distorted way of solving anything. That's what we do here in Austria. We're very, very close to ending this crisis here in this country. Yes, we can actually say that we've got a solution to this world crisis. This is also something you're not allowed to say. Yes, I actually have a solution to this world crisis. And we're in direct contact with politicians. We're directly in contact with the police. And before we know it, we'll be directly in contact with the military. Because they're all part of the human family. We need to come together. We need to solve this. When they do what they do right now in England, okay, and it happens somewhere and they want to put it all across the world, like the Black Lives Matter aspect. All lives matter. All of humanity matters here. And what a perfect example to grow up, not be violent, but go outside. Oh, I have to stay at home by 6 o'clock? Then I'm going to go outside. Show your humanity, okay? Go out there and experience it. Experience life. That is your chance. And that's what these sort of leaders, masquerading as leaders, no, they're actors of the Truman Show, called The Matrix. That's what they're here for, to push us to the point where we say, no, we're not having it in a non-violent matter. And we need to stand up now. Now, here in Europe is the beginning of spring. And it's over for you, Mafia. Your job's done. And you're highest up also, the demiurge in the Gnostic teaching. Your time's over. Got a problem with it? Well, show up with this one and this one. Okay? We take full responsibility for this planet because we're the protectors of this planet. Do you get it? It's our time. This is our terrain, our home. And we're taking it back as of now. And the new cycle is going to be a new disc, which we program. We're the number one hackers. Okay, if you like it or not. That is the reality now. And that's what we stand for together. The female and the male together in unity with each other, supportive. That's what we stand for. This is our planet. This is our world. And you can't stop it. All of us together.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's how we reprogram reality. All right. So, any lasting thoughts, Ahmed? Anything you want to say?
Yeah. Just one thing to add. If you want to know what the divine masculine is, in its kind of simple, easiest way to access that, get involved with your hands. Yeah, we all sat in our armchairs typing away and not becoming active. You know, if you want to start, you know, getting in touch with that aspect, and I'm talking to the women too, as well. Get involved with your hands. We've stopped using tools. We've stopped using the hands. You know, back in the day, 200 years ago, women were milking. They were using tools. They were, and there was a lot more males coming into the population back then, as well. And there was more harmony then with the male and balance of the male and female. What we want to do is, if we're creating children and reproducing, which is a huge responsibility, we've got to make sure that where we are in ourselves is also going to be expressed in perfect balance when we give birth to these new generations, and that there's not an imbalance of too many females and less males, or vice versa. So I just want to add that. Get involved with your hands. Start to work. If you don't know where to start to work with your hands. You know, use tools. Start to learn tools. You know, how do I sew? You know, you know, how do I stitch and repair my own clothes? You know, start to get that brain working for yourself to empower that. You know, I've got many skills. One of them is carpentry. I use my hands a lot, and by building things, knowing how to build shelter, just the mere, you know, knowledge to know how to do that is so empowering.
It should be basic, really.
Empower yourself with skills with your hands. You know, and that's the masculine aspect, the doing.
That's wonderful. Exactly. And I love it. And also at the end, I want to remind people that get in touch with your relationships. Okay. I see the world as concentric circles. It's like when you throw a stone in the pond, but you want to change the outer circle, like the world, you have to change the inner circle first, yourself, and get in touch with the people that are around you, okay, in that next circle. Get in touch with the people you had a relationship with and heal those energetic blockages that are still there, because they're the ones you carry through to the next relationship. Heal that, and then you can clear it. So that's the emotional work. Then there's practical work you can do, like you beautifully explained. There's many ways we need to get the power within ourselves, and then we change the world together. So that's my last ideas here. Anything you want to add, Errol?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Good
That
talk.
was beautiful. Very good talk. So
Thank you.
stay tuned, my dear brothers and sisters here. We're going to do this a lot more often because this is quite a lot of fun. And let's see if YouTube can hack us and delete us. I doubt it, but come on, bring it on. We'll have a platform anywhere, because we try and find out the truth. Okay, we're not telling you, oh, listen to us, that's the truth. No, this is how we got into this mess, by reading some Bible and someone telling us that's the truth and you should know this and this. No, we're here to find it out together. Okay, inspire each other, not follow each other. We don't need leaders, we don't need followers. Okay, we need good examples of human beings standing up, really mean the love, that one love.
Hold on.
Also in a nice sense.
One viewer is saying, called Jane, is saying, who is hacking it? Who's hacking in? Or who do you think is hacking in? The mafia we're exposing. They watch our every step. They know what we're doing. They're listening in right now. So they're always trying to hack in.
Exactly. And then we hack them. That's how it goes. Full circle. And let's see what is the stronger hack, okay? The source or your copy of the source, okay? Your little matrix that we're going to tell you what it is, okay? All right.
Beautiful.
Let's
Thank
have
you
it
so
at
much
that.
for this conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Ahmed, for the time. And we'll catch up soon again. And lots of love to all the viewers out there. We're having fun here. We've got our people here. We're hanging out. Oh, no social distancing. Well, guess what? We're not having this here. This is our planet. If you've got a problem with that, well, come and face us, okay? We'll sort you out.
Stop hiding. Come and face us.
Come here, Mafia. I want to speak to you, all right?
Instead of having your helicopters hovering above our heads while we're doing exercises and training in the park, land and speak to us, you whatever.
Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen. All right. Good. Great to chat to you, Ahmed. Much love
Likewise,
to
brother.
London. Bye.
Peace.
Cheers.